Hi everyone, this is BritSimon. So I thought I'd create a quick video for us to discuss the Visa Bulletin. I've had over 100 questions today from various people asking, am I safe, essentially? When will I be interviewed? Is my number safe? People are asking me from almost every number range, including some people that have asked me if they're safe when they're already current. So let's try and explain this to people and try and explain where we stand with the Visa Bulletin, etc. So the Visa Bulletin was just released yesterday. It was pretty much a normal month. Obviously, in some regions, the progress, if you look at the progress month to month, it's going to confuse you. You're going to think people have been freaking out about South America. South America only increased by 75 cases this month, but the number that it's reached to this point is actually pretty good. But of course, people are looking at that 75 and then them predicting it's going to be 75 for the rest of the year. It won't, but people are not understanding that, and people are far too focused on a particular Visa Bulletin, and they're not looking at the bigger picture. So let's just talk about that and apply some common sense to it. Firstly, we are 5 Visa Bulletins in to a 12-month process. The process lasts 12 months. There's no point in panicking after 5 months. It's not necessary to panic at this point. There's going to be months where you'll have higher or lower progression during that month. There's various reasons behind it, and you really don't need to worry about one particular month. This is a 12-month process, so just calm down, okay? So let's talk about what happened, for example, in South America. As you'll probably know if you're a frequent watcher of my videos or if you subscribe to my blog, you'll know that in October, KCC started sending out notices to people to ask for documents. Those notices would have alerted some people that they were winners, even though they didn't previously know that they were winners, okay? And to other people, it would have prompted them to suddenly react and send in their documents. So in late October, all through November, and perhaps in December, there has probably been a flood of documents to KCC, and those documents would have been processed fairly quickly, and it would be for all number ranges from low to high, because the notifications were sent out to all number ranges. Okay. Now some people probably haven't got those notifications yet. That's fine. That's not really a problem, but the majority of cases by now, I suspect, will have had those notices, and the majority of cases would have sent in their documents, and they would have previously sent in their DS-260. So that means that there will be some cases that would have become ready for scheduling this month, where they were previously already current in a previous month, but were not ready for scheduling in a previous month because they haven't submitted their DS-260 or their documents. So in the case of South America, for example, where there's only 75 case number increase, the 75 case number increase is almost no increase at all, but the interviews would have come from lower number ranges, people already current in previous months. So this is just something that's going to happen because of this fairly new procedure to send out these notifications to all cases. For the first time I've ever seen, this notification has gone out to all cases and has woken up some people. So in the case of Africa, I think Africa moved pretty well. It's grown again, quite nicely. We're at a pretty good place. Asia seems to be moving on quite nicely, and Asia, bearing in mind that's going to get to around about 30,000 number, is almost exactly where it should be after 5 months, so no reason to freak out there. Some people in Nepal are freaking out because, I don't know, they just want to freak out. But again, we're only at month 5 of 12 months, so there's no reason for people to panic. And then in Europe is an interesting case because it increased by 3,500, I believe, this month. That's a pretty good jump in most normal months, but of course we were fairly low to that point. And again, I think this factor of cases being alerted to the fact that they need to send in documents, I think that has played a factor in the EU number that we're currently at, both last month and this month. Oceania, absolutely fine. Oceania is charging along 1,350. In previous years, the end of year for Oceania has been something like 1,450, 1,490, in that range. It rarely goes over 1,500. This year, it's going to go much higher than 1,500 because, as we know, the case numbers, the highest case number is much higher. But the cases themselves are about the same, which means the cases are spread out more. And that spreading out more is true of every region, right? Which is why we're seeing high case numbers in Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, and Oceania. So that's kind of an explanation. Now, for the 100 or so people that are going to email me tomorrow and ask me, am I safe? Calm down. Honestly, there's no need to be worried at this point. There's a few factors that are changing things, and we can talk about those in a moment. But relax. There's no need to be asking me. And if you see someone has asked about EU 36XXX 36,000, and your case number is 37XXX 37,000. Really, whatever I replied to that person just before you is what I'm going to reply to you. It's the same thing, it's the same number range. Overall, I would say to everybody, wait and see. Wait and see what happens. We need to wait for at least a couple more months before we know anything. Actually, very importantly, in January, for the first time in DV 2020, we're going to see the SEAC data. I'm going to write an article and create a video about that, because we need to collectively gather the SEAC data, and we have a method for doing that. But the SEAC data basically is the official government data on all of the cases. So we will be able to track every single case from January onwards. Right now, you can't get any data from the system because the data doesn't go live until January 1. For any IT people out there, you will hardly believe what I'm about to tell you, but they wrote the system of SEAC. The cases are loaded in there now, but we can't see those cases until we're in 2020. They've actually matched on the year. You can't see DV 2020 cases until the year of 2020. So on the stroke of midnight on New Year's Day, effectively, or I should say midnight on New Year's Eve, the data will be available in SEAC for people to check their individual cases. And from that point forward, we'll be able to get the data for DV 2020 that will tell us exactly the distribution of cases. It'll tell us how many people have been scheduled for interview so far. And from that point forward, we'll be able to extract the data on a monthly basis to see how many cases are being scheduled for interview. And it will give us a lot more information about the overall setup. And it will confirm for a lot of people what I've already explained, which is the very high distribution of holes throughout the number ranges on all the cases. And so it's going to be just confirmation for me. I already know what it's going to show us. But it will be confirmation of that fact for other people. We'll be able to see that numbers. And because of the tremendous work by Zarthisius, who's created a website where this data is hosted and has created the tool for extraction of the data, because of his work, we will be able to visualize the data in a very simple way, which is tremendous. So anyway, we'll be able to see that in January. Look forward to that. And in the meantime, relax. Don't panic about your case. What I'm expecting is the Visa Bulletin that was just published relates to February interviews. So I'm expecting for this temporary slowdown in Visa Bulletin progression to have been sort of caught up with, if you like, in February, and by March and April we should start to see significant progress in the case numbers. If at that time we were not to see progress in March and April, we'd have to talk again. We'd have to think about that again, because that would be strange, it would be weird. But I honestly don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see good number progression in perhaps March, but certainly in April. And the real powerhouse, the real time when when KCC can schedule a lot of cases is on those months, March and April, particularly March, April, May. February is of course a short month. It's got holidays, etc. It's a short month anyway. So February isn't traditionally a massive month, and there's good reason why it would be less. But as I say, I think February can be explained by catching up with the interviews for cases that were already current but now can be scheduled. And so moving forward, we're now going to be dealing with the normal density of cases. The density of cases is going to be quite low in some regions. So Oceania is at about 25% density, 75% holes. So we're going to see fast progression from that point. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that. Although, as I said earlier, Oceania is exactly where it needs to be. So it doesn't need to be motoring that fast. So okay, so we're in pretty good shape. People don't need to panic. It's only month 5 of 12. This is a 12-month process. Calm, everyone calm. And please don't overwhelm me with questions which are really unnecessary if you understand what's going on, if you just take the time to read some of the articles, etc. Now let me finally address my predictions that I made in July and the statements that I've made. I have pulled back on my confidence a little bit for a couple of reasons. I have explained in my videos and articles before that we know that there is some sort of new procedure in place that has disqualified a lot more cases prior to the announcement and created a lot more holes. We know that, right? And and I've speculated previously that would, in a sense, increase the response rate, what we call the response rate, the percentage of cases out of every 100 cases, the percentage of those cases that respond to their win. In previous years, in some regions, that response rate was quite low. So even out of every 100 cases, you would find maybe 30 cases wouldn't even ever respond to their win. Part of the reason for that is that some of the cases would have been fraudulent cases anyway. There would have been cases where people knew fundamentally they were going to get refused at interview, and so they didn't bother responding. Okay, so I believe it's likely that whatever technology has been employed to increase the number of disqualifications has probably weeded out more of those false cases in the first place, which means the quality of the cases left, the quality of the people actually informed that they were winners, is probably higher, and therefore more of them will respond and more of them will be issued. Okay, so I've already taken that factor into account into my analysis that I had performed earlier. But since I performed my analysis earlier and told people about that, of course this October announcement from KCC contacting cases proactively and telling them that they were winners and they needed to send in their documentation, that would also have alerted some people to their win that were not previously aware of their win. And so it as well, that factor as well, will increase the response rate in addition to what I just told you about the disqualifications and the better quality of the applicants. So there are two factors now working, not just one factor, but two factors working towards increased response rate, and one of those factors works towards increased approval rates. So there is likely to be a higher ratio of successful visas issued to number of applicants. So 80,000 in a previous year is not the same as 80,000 in this year. I think we're going to see more successful applicants from the 80,000 odd winners that we've got this year than we've seen in previous years from the same number of cases, right? So that's an important factor. Because of that, I'm now a little bit more cautious about saying every region is going to go current. Previously in July I had said that pretty much every region would be current. I was a little bit concerned about Egypt, a little bit concerned about Nepal, but I hadn't really dwelled on that too much. But other than that, I saw, frankly, there were good reason to think that every region would be current. Now with this additional factor of the October documentation emails, that could vary a little bit. We might see a little bit of pressure towards cutting off some numbers. The other thing that could happen is that the very slow start that we've had, and it's been exceptionally slow, there's no doubt about that, it's been exceptionally slow. I'll give you some data in a few days' time to show how few visas have been issued to this point. It really is, it's quite shocking. And so the slow start has to be caught up later. If they don't catch up later, then essentially it can impact the long-term, the final numbers, because they run out of time to schedule all of the people. So it may work against us, and even if we compute mathematically who should get visas from the people that we have, that may not matter if there's too slow a start that continues for too long. So I am looking for March and April to be better. I am looking for the Visa Bulletin numbers to be speeding up in those months. If it were not to speed up in those months, then we would have more of a problem, because quite simply in May, June, July, August and September, we'll start to run out of months to catch up with the backlog of cases there would be at that time. Okay, so that's my feeling. Wait and see is my motto. I hope people understand that. You need to wait and see what happens. I can't predict with absolute accuracy what will happen, and frankly, if I can't, nobody can. So I urge you to not listen to people who are going to say with certainty they know what's going to happen. Nobody does. We can mathematically compute the possibilities for all these cases to be issued, but that doesn't mean that all those cases would go current. We have got roughly 10% more visas this year available to us, and we've got a fairly low number of selectees. So really we should still be in good shape, but we do need to see March and April start to speed up. Okay? So I hope that's clear. I hope that's answered some of the questions. Please try and take this on board. Try and understand what I'm explaining to you, and try and back off the constant barrage. I mean, 100 odd emails today, between posts on my blog and emails, etc. It really is quite overwhelming. I understand you're concerned, but there is no one in this world that can predict with certainty the numbers. So where I would like to give you all a sort of an absolute certain answer, I can't. Nobody can. And frankly, we're all adults. We need to just calm down and frankly wait and see. Okay, so I hope you'll take that on board. Okay, so I have plans to post another video about people being scammed. I'm very sad when I read some of these cases that I read about people that are being taken advantage of, and so I want to try and direct people to not get scammed. There is no lottery process open at the moment. Please understand, if somebody is telling you that they can enter the lottery for you. At the moment they're lying, it's a scam. If somebody's telling you that they have some special way to win, they're lying, it's a scam. Please be aware. Please, understand that there are no shortcuts in this process. So, just understand that. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to address. I'm sorry, but one other thing I did want to address. A number of people have asked me, now I'm current, will I be interviewed this month? Or will I be scheduled for an interview this month? Okay, so let's address that. The people who get December notification, 2NLs in December, are being scheduled for February interviews, okay? December is a short month, so KCC, considering they've just been given the numbers a few days ago, they've got a short month in which to schedule interviews, which is probably, again, one of the reasons they cut down the numbers this month, frankly. February is a short month and December is a short month. They don't have a lot of time to do the administration that is necessary to arrange all of these interviews. But in the remainder of December, 2NLs will be sent out, second notification letters will be sent out to people being interviewed in February. So if you're current for February now, according to the latest Visa Bulletin, if your case number is below the number range you see for your region, no matter how far below, whether it's just gone current or whether it's current in the previous month, you could be interviewed in February. However, you will only be scheduled if your DS-260 and your documents were with KCC prior to the beginning of December. Okay, and that's the same every month. If you there's a cut-off point, and it might go 1 day or 2 days into the month itself, but really, unless you have the documents that have gone to KCC and they are satisfied with those documents in no later than the end of November, you will not be interviewed in February, no matter if you're current or not. What will happen is you'll just be pushed to the following month. You'll be scheduled in January for a March interview. Okay, if you had sent your documents in December or they were only received since the beginning of December. So that should answer that question for a few of you that are asking that as well. So I'm hoping that's going to be useful to you. Okay, so best of luck, everyone. Good luck in what you're doing. Please do subscribe to my video channel here. I've got lots of good information to share with you. I can write articles on my blog, but a lot of people enjoy seeing the videos. Some people complain that they don't understand my speaking, my English accent, I suppose. I apologize for that, but sometimes it's just easier for me to sit down and create a video than write a long article, and I'm working extremely hard at my daytime job at the moment, so I have limited time. So bear with me, subscribe to the channel, make sure you're getting notifications, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell. There's a bell down below. Turn on that bell to make sure you get notified when I publish a new video, and I'll try and keep you in touch with everything that goes on. Okay, so good luck everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.